thunders and lightnings. These phenomena have the same origin. The vapors, as we said in the chapter on winds and earthquakes, have a dual nature, the wet and the dry phase where they exist in combination. Condensation of this causes a cloud. As the heat rises upward, there is an amount of dry vapor that's trapped as the air cools and is expelled when it meets the clouds. As these dry vapors are released, they fall violently into neighboring clouds and thunder is produced. This sound is produced just like the sound of a flame, where the vapor after being compressed is brought to the flame and the wood crackles or dries. There is a wide variety of thunder sounds due to the varying size of the clouds and the gaps between the clouds. The wind of dry vapors expelled in this way undergoes incandescence, a phenomenon we call lightning. It occurs after the crash and after the thunder, but appears first as the thunder comes more slowly to our ears, traveling at the speed of sound. In other words, we see that it is the same natural substance, the dry vapors, which when they are on the surface of the ground and flow in a certain way are wind, when they are on the ground and in the subsoil in another way, they cause earthquakes, and finally when they are in the clouds, as these clouds gather and condense into water, the dry vapor changes and breaks up as it is ejected, causing thunder and eventually lightning. Windstorms, turbines, hurricanes. When we have a secretion of the dry vapor in small quantities, it diffuses here and there, and when it spreads rapidly, it is thin and causes thunder and lightning. If it is solid and dense, a stormy wind is caused, which is violent with the speed of emission of the dry vapors creating the force of this wind. Since both phases are present in the air, when either of them starts to activate, the one in redundancy is emitted by it. If the wet phase prevails, we have rain, while if the dry phase prevails, we have a windstorm. When the outflowing wind from vaporization falls onto another cloud, the front of the stream is pushed back due to drag and narrowing of the passage. Thus, a cyclone or vortex is formed, with the gas stream moving diagonally in directions that do not encounter this resistance. The same happens for the rest of the stream, and thus eddies are created. As the wind cannot escape from the cloud due to the density of the cloud, the gaseous stream of dry vapors, the air, moves in circles in places creating a greater density and therefore a drop in temperature. In the phenomena of hurricanes, we have stormy wind that is produced and cannot be released from the cloud. This is due to the resistance of the vortex forces and is manifested when the propeller descends to the ground and drags with it the cloud from which it cannot get rid. This creates a circular motion that when it hits the ground creates a negative pressure and overturns and violently lifts up everything it hits. If a large amount of thin air is compressed inside this cloud, then lightning occurs. Objects that have a high density and resist take damage, while those that have a lower density do not have time to be penetrated by the wind and take no damage. There is always wind before lightning. The place to be struck by lightning vibrates before the strike, because the wind which is the cause falls upon it first. Thus we cover the phenomena of thunder, lightning, windstorm, whirlwind, weather of fire or water, and hurricane, which are phenomena of the same nature. Recap. In Book 3, we fully analyzed how fumes from flammable materials create celestial phenomena such as comets, meteors, shooting stars, etc. In Book 4, we saw how tides are created by the Earth periodically pulling or pushing the waters of the seas. Also in the same issue, we saw how plant juices are affected and moved by the Moon and its phases, rising and falling periodically according to the period of the Moon's cycle. Apart from fumes from flammable materials which are highly volatile and are dry fumes by nature, air is also divided into dry and wet fumes having both phases potentially in it. Combined with the property of the Earth to inhale and exhale due to the pulsating electromagnetic field within that creates the atmospheric pressure, dry vapors are trapped either inside the Earth or in the air. Thus we have earthquakes, volcanoes, lightnings, and thunders. The flow of these in the air causes the wind. Finally, we would say that all these phenomena are meteorological. Thus, we have completed the study on the separation of fumes into wet and dry and also what they cause. Dry fume cycle example. Ascending rays emerge from the Fuego volcano of Antigua, Guatemala. Here we will see how the dry fumes create windstorms, turn into thunder and lightning, enter due to low pressure and cyclonic effect into the volcano, where they find other underground fumes there. A saturation of them is created inside the Earth and we have an explosion and escape of the fumes again back on the sky, with these dry fumes becoming lightning again, this time upwards. During the eruption, there is a seismic vibration, followed by the emission of the combustion gases from the volcano, and then lava flow. So, we will see in an example the continuity of nature and the elements recapitulating everything we have said about these subjects. Here we have a composite example where we can see all of this in total. We have a phenomenon where initially dry vapors of air are released from the cloud and lining is created, creating a cyclone effect and low pressure where it occurs. The lightning that has been created in the air by the decompression of the dry vapors due to this low pressure and the cyclonic effect in the air finds a passage in the mouth of the volcano as it moves down. The underground dry vapors of the subsoil within the volcano, due to their saturation, erupt, creating earthquake, and due to the negative pressure created, they are released from the bowels of the earth on the air, creating upward lightnings. They create explosions due to saturation inside the volcano, reaching high temperatures, melting elements of the subsoil and soil in the cavity where it was, while we have elimination of combustion gases on the air. So after the explosions, we have an appeal of these fumes. Then we have the flow of lava, the molten solid elements. In our example, due to the low pressure created by the cyclone, part of the dry vapors that escape from the volcano fall onto a denser cloud and erupt, causing earthquake, volcanic eruption, thunder and lightnings, which due to the low pressure but also the underground origin of these dry vapors have an upward course.